Is this thing on?
All right, let's get this show on the road.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Idiot.
What?
We need to get you a couple phone books.
Phone books?
Yeah, you got to sit up a little bit like a big boy because all the thumbnails are little. There you go. That's better. Or we'll get you a phone book to sit on.
I'm a short guy. I'm not even 5'9". I'm just about 5'9".
That's not too short.
Well, I don't stick out like a sore thumb short, but I'm pretty short.
Did you hit record?
Mm-hmm.
Well, hello everybody.
Hey everybody.
Episode number 8.
Episode number 8.
Wow. Another one.
We're
doing another one.
How you doing, Dan?
Pretty good, Rob.
Good.
What have you been up to this week?
Oh, just I feel bad I'm dragging out what I've already been doing, but from the last podcast, it seems like I'm doing the same stuff. Bathroom remods. Isn't it the case that when you think you're about done with the project, usually that last 10% is like another 90%?
Well, it's all the little tiny finishing things. It's the taps and the nail holes in the trim and
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I know that game.
So I thought I was like, I got 3 or 4 more hours left. Button it up. Bada bing, bada boom. Done bathroom. Nope. 4 days later, every day, all day, working on my bathroom.
So, are you done?
Yeah.
It's all done?
Yep.
Good. You happy?
I mean, it's just a little white. I spent too much money, but everything's expensive, materials, and that's fine. It's a cute little white bathroom.
Did you have trouble getting anything that you wanted that you normally have no trouble getting?
My contractor to show up at a decent hour.
No, but it seems to me that the at least in construction, the supply chain seems to be flowing pretty good again.
Yeah, what's funny though is primer is and certain types of paint. I guess there's a pigment. I don't know. I wanted to say plant, but I'm not sure where the pigment comes from. I'm guessing it's mined, or I don't know, but produced in some way. Anyway, it's apparently because of the bad storms they had in Texas. They're having there's a big shortage of these pigments or some component of paint and primer, and so the shelves in Sherwin-Williams were pretty dry, and I had to use some, crappy primer because it's all they had left. But that's the only thing that I couldn't get that I wanted was a good primer.
Yep.
So what about you?
Did you go? Well, we are coming off of Canadian Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, what? It's funny to me that I didn't know this existed until like 2 or 3 days ago.
Well, when is your Thanksgiving? Like Christmas?
No, when it's supposed to be, silly. It's I don't know. November 20 something. I don't know.
Yeah, so exactly when the harvest is not.
Well, I don't know. I guess that's true. It's not really the beginning of harvest. Yeah, I'm trying to find the date. Yeah, so it's the 25th of November here.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why the Christmas and Thanksgiving is pretty well the same to you guys.
Did you have some turkey?
No. And it was my choice not to. It was good.
Really?
We had fish. Yeah, well, we didn't have
fish.
We had fish and chips.
Have you seen that? Have you seen Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
Have you seen where Ron Swanson bans fish from the parties? He says that it's basically a vegetable.
Oh yeah, I
love that part.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. No. Most of my kids are gone. My daughter is in Paris right now.
Wow.
My son was in Ottawa, and it was just a bare bones, simple Thanksgiving. So it was nice. We actually, just the 3 of us, we went to go pick apples and we got some pumpkins and some gourds and stuff, and every little small orchard or little hobby farm has turned into a tourist farm now, right?
Right.
Do you guys have that? Like a lot of these visiting farms that you go to and pick your pumpkins and apples and stuff? Or?
We have one about 10 minutes up the road, headed west, and we have another. It's more of a cider mill without the extras. You can't really pet animal. They have, I guess now they have an animal petting farm. We just tried to buy some cider there a couple of days ago, in and out quick, and the lady accosted us with the idea. Two grown men walked in to get cider. She said, "Do you guys want to pet the sheep?" And we were like, "No, we don't, but thanks." And we left.
I can imagine. Yeah. Yeah, we got cider too.
Could you imagine going to a grocery store and someone walking along with, nearby you? Do you want to go outside and pet my goat? It's like, no, I just want some milk.
Yeah. Well, I heard you used to milk goats as a boy.
Yeah, exactly. They would know that about you. They don't. I'm anonymous. What were you? So you said that you guys had fish.
Yeah, we just had fish, but yeah, that wasn't really. That was our Thanksgiving, just going for a little road trip, little field trip. But
Right.
no, otherwise just regular weekend, really.
Huh.
Yeah, I spent of course, worked all week to spend the weekend making a YouTube video.
Hey, familiar sound.
Another cottonwood bark Frankenstein.
I still haven't seen that video.
Yeah, well, it's not like the old one.
You have
first
it?
one. This one's I have it in hand. It's a little more serious than the first one. The first one is a little bit more playful, but this guy's a little bit more.
Whoa, he is awesome, dude. That's next level.
Serious, eh?
Yeah, but he's definitely better.
But I made a couple of good mistakes on it, but if I don't tell you, you might not see him. But
yeah,
from a distance, he looks okay.
It looks huge.
Yeah,
for the listeners, it's a pretty realistic Frankenstein. It's probably what, 7 inches, 8, or well, no more than that, probably 12 inches.
No, it's a foot. Yeah,
is it? Yeah,
12 inches,
a foot.
Yeah. So that's what I did. Put the video together and got it out.
Nice.
So
beautiful.
But otherwise, that's pretty much my weekend.
All right. So we've got a topic that comes to us from
too quick.
Too quick?
Yeah, you just didn't work. You didn't do anything on your bathroom. You hired someone. So what did you do actually? What did you actually do?
What did I do?
Get away with that?
Seriously,
what contractor in my bathroom?
Well, what actually happened was I was complaining to one of my builder friends who said, it's your fault for hiring a friend. Just tell him you're happy and finish the job. So that's kind of what happened. He was supposed to finish it and it didn't really get finished. And I was like, you know what, John, this looks great. Here's your money. And he left. And I just spent the next 4 days finishing up the drywall and trimming and buttoning up loose ends, caulking around everything. And I don't know, painting. I think I said that already, but I made a transition board. I carved a transition board on the bandsaw from the living room floor, which is totally crooked because the whole house is crooked as can be. Am I not talking into the microphone? No, I am. But the house is 100 years old and it was built on sticks. And so the sun rises in the west. So the west facing wall. Wait, no.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. My brain fell out for a second. So the west wall is about
falls
east.
Yeah, that's right.
Sun rises in the east. So my brain did fall out. But anyway, my point here is that there is about 7 foot from the floor to the ceiling on the east facing wall. The west facing wall is about 8 feet. So I don't know what happened, but over time, my east facing wall sunk so that there's it's like squashed and buckled out. So anyway, no one needs to know this, but
so you had to make a new threshold.
So
get the floors to line,
right? Because it looked like this, meeting my bathroom, which is now level. So I had to make this custom deal. Do you like liquid? Well, I just made it out of PVC. Because everything is white. The trim is white in the house, and the trim is white in the bathroom. Everything's white. So I bought this sandable PVC trim that you can cut and shape, and it's pretty durable, I think. We'll see, but
That reminds me of the old vinyl trim they used to put in bathrooms
that's what I
for
did.
renovations. But
I used vinyl trim in the entire bathroom. Don't tell me that's a
did you
bad
really?
idea. Is that a bad idea?
No, I haven't seen it for 20 years.
I hope it's all right.
You had to get those little paneling nails to nail it into the wall back in the day.
I just used a nail gun.
Yeah.
It's almost
It can't be. It's gotta have MDF inside or something.
yeah. No, it doesn't. It's less of a vinyl, more of like, again, it's like a PV. It behaves like wood. It's like PVC. It's almost like really hard foam.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be water resistant, and I liked using it because it behaved very much like pine. It was soft. It shaped well in the bandsaw, the various saws and sands well. And so I figured, I don't want to have to worry about trim getting wet and mildewy and stuff. So.
Okay. No, I haven't seen that.
But no, I mean, otherwise I've just been, what have I been doing? I spent some time with my girlfriend here and there, but mostly truly, I mean, the last 4 or 5 days, it's just been waking up, working on the bathroom. And that's it. I can't think of a single thing else other than like seeing my lady once every few nights.
No carving, no nothing.
I haven't done a single carving. Jeez,
Wow.
it's my thing is awake apparently.
Yeah, I
now.
put my phone on silent.
Oh, what does that entail?
Well, good for you. You got the project done now anyway. So now
yeah.
it's
Well, I just feel great now that you think it's not possible. It took me this long. But
that's good.
like you couldn't possibly have only done that, you you lazy buffoon.
Well, no, I wasn't saying that, but I thought you had a contractor. I was like, well, so you just sat there and watched your contractor?
Oh, right.
So.
Well, I would have done that, and I did that last week for sure. I watched him a little bit, but I don't know. I had a busier, more exciting week last week. This week I just painted. And
I like painting.
Yeah. Do you?
I almost was going to go into painting at one time. I used to paint houses on the side. So we would build the houses and then I would paint them on my own time.
Really?
At nights and weekends. And I loved the painting. But they weren't getting the big dollars back then that they are now. So it wasn't as lucrative.
It's crazy expensive.
And I was a trimmer. I just enjoyed painting. I just like having the radio and doing something just mindless.
It drives me nuts. I hate it.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, I'm okay with, methodical, detail oriented stuff, but something about painting drives me bonkers. It's not the paint itself, the painting process. It's getting the paint and the fear of getting the paint on surfaces that you shouldn't get the paint on. That drives me nuts.
Well,
I hate it.
They have drop clause for.
Right. Well, you have that, but I feel like I end up getting paint all over my body, my hair, paint in areas that I didn't know was possible to paint.
I have a story. I don't know if it's appropriate for the podcast or not, but I will anyway.
Yeah.
Back in the day, there's this painter I used to work with, and every once in a while he'd get the painters, our true painter in the old days with white shirt, white pants.
Right.
They were a painter. But we had this one painter, and he was staining something, and I think he always felt the need to adjust himself. And no matter what color of paint he was painting or staining or whatever, but all of his pants had all the staining was right around his crotch because he kept. You could see him walking up the road like, oh, look at that guy.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's
visual evidence story. Of the inappropriate, Doug.
Yeah, well, it's not dirty. It's just stained.
It is dirty though.
It is dirty stain.
Are you satisfied? Did I give you enough?
Yeah, I'll let it go now. Yeah.
Did you do anything else in the YouTube world, or were you focused on I was once again with Einstein instead of Frankenstein? Frankenstein.
No, I did. Well, I'll give you an update on the awful video that I almost deleted again.
Where are we
I'm
at?
holding out. We're at 8.9 million.
Oh my
It'll probably be 9 million by the time we're done recording, because it was like 8.96 or something. So it's almost 9 million.
Unbelievable, man.
And it's not, the comments are not getting better.
Really?
Yeah. But here's a funny story. Because we talked about it last week, I see some people coming on and trying to defend me in the comments. Like, Doug did not cut that tree down. That tree had fallen over. So that was kind of fun, because I think this is the only place I've talked about it. So that's where they must have heard.
Some CNCers, coffee and carving people.
There you
Thank
go.
you guys.
So they came to my rescue, but I mean, it's an endless job. So don't worry about it. It'll pass.
Right. And you probably can't keep up with the comments.
No, I don't. Well, when I do, I'm like, I shouldn't have looked. So I'm sure I will end up deleting the whole thing at some point.
Really?
Because it does nothing for me at all. Nothing. But I do want to see how far it goes, because it's just going to stop dead whenever it goes off that YouTube short shelf.
Yeah.
The views are just going to stop. I know that. So when it does, I want to see what the final count is.
Right.
But
I mean, it's going to hit 10.
I don't know. It's slowing down, but we'll see.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Like I always, right from the beginning, like, why couldn't they have chosen a carving video?
Right.
Instead of a craft video, because it does not represent the channel. I'd be happy if it was a carving video.
Right.
Like promoting carving, but this is just a little craft video where people call me names on. So,
can I tell you a secret, Doug?
Well, yep, go for it.
So this whole Zoom thing.
What are you doing?
So my shirt is only buttoned so far as you can see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So my button down shirt is only that's it.
I thought that's how the cool kids were wearing their shirts these days.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think the midriff thing is relegated to mostly girls, but some guys too, I guess. Yeah. So for the listeners, I how folks, I'm kind of I'm upping the Zoom game where folks only wear nice clothes up top and then PJs down below. I didn't even button my shirt up all the way, so long as the camera doesn't show it. And I admitted to it. So,
well, I never button up my flannel shirts because I always have a shirt under it.
Right.
So I always leave them open.
Right. Are yours usually covered in paint though?
No.
No. There you go. So as I was saying before I was so
rudely
interrupted. We both received a question from Todd Martin, who is a doctor and a chairman at the Department of English at Huntington University. He said, posed, when you do an original carving, is there a particular order you follow as you carve to keep proportions right? For example, do you focus more on getting the head right or the body first? Thanks. I thought this was a good question.
Well, you can come across it from the bark angle then?
Yeah.
Why don't I just do like a caricature?
Right. Who first?
Which one's more important? Bark or caricature?
I have no idea.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The key word that I heard was the proportions correct.
Right.
And on my side, I could care less because of the caricature. But anyway, if I was to start a carving from a block of wood, first thing I do is knock the feet in. Just get the feet in. Yep. Yeah. And then
what's the difference?
I'll go the head. But as far as the proportions go, like I even watched Gene Messers made a video 2 days ago, and he was saying how his heads are always far bigger than need be, because that's what people look at first, and they're funnier looking.
Huh.
So that's the caricature world. Well, for example, like imagine a guy with a head that big,
Yeah.
right?
So the body's what, 7 inches,
So
but the head is 4 of it.
when I did the tutorial of the little woodsman last week, like we started exactly halfway at the bottom of his beard. I just said find half bottom of his beard, no matter what. Like
right.
So I don't really get too caught up. But anyway, after I knock the feet in, I go, if I need to know if he's wearing a hat or not, and if he has a beard or not. And I need to stop putting beards on absolutely everything I carve, but most of the guys have beards. But otherwise, I'll just block the head in.
Right.
So now I got the feet and the head, and then from there I can gauge where I want the butt or the bottom of the jacket or the shirt or whatever. And then depending on that too, arms in, arms out, straight arm holding a stick, and then you got it blocked in.
Right.
So no real science to it. Like there's lots of correct proportion books out there.
Yeah.
You probably get into that more with the face structure and the eyes and whatnot. But we kind of wing it in the caricature world, because it doesn't matter. Like if the guy from his nose, so if your nose is or your eye line is half of your head normally, well, a caricature, you could have half the head just being this big jaw with big lips,
right?
It doesn't matter.
Yep.
So that's why we're not trying to be realistic. So
you're making me jealous. Because I want to do that. I think why wouldn't you? If you're carving and you're making stuff, and you think about what we've talked about before, the arguments that Picasso would get into with his wife when she would say, why don't you carve or paint people who look like people? Why do you have to carve? Why can't you carve our daughter like this picture? Pull it off the wall. And then Picasso grabs it, turns it sideways and says, like this, point being, it's a representation.
Very thin.
Yeah. She's very thin, isn't she? Yeah. You remember it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the point is it's a picture. It's a representation of a person. So why not just have fun with it? And why not stretch reality? And so long as it adds to the thing. But I truly would like to play more with characterizing realistic pieces too. And I think that'd be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Or why not?
Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
I like but I like the way you carve too.
Thanks.
Like it's usually serious though.
Yeah.
And so when I do cottonwood carving, that's why I say I do Frankenstein. I paint his face green. I don't think you've ever painted a face green as a gay carving. It doesn't fly in the art world to have Frankenstein on the wall. Right?
Hey, I don't know. I don't know if I'm holding to that art world per se, but no, I guess you wouldn't really see that there. But I don't think it. I mean, nowadays, why not? Yeah, I'm sure you could. You might as well. I don't know there are any rules.
I was downloading images of the Jolly Green Giant yesterday. Do you know who Jolly Green Giant is?
Wait, not the guy in the bean can.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well,
you're gonna do him?
He's a perfect green man. He's got like a leaf head, and then he's got like a little sash leaf thing. But I didn't realize. Now I'm going to go off on another tangent. I didn't realize how much he had changed over the years. He's more human today.
Yeah, that's very realistic.
Right? Isn't that the perfect green man?
That's awesome.
See that I think that's the guy from like the 70s. He has a very Peter Panish look.
He does. You're right.
For lack of a better term, right? He's very fairy-like.
Yeah, he did change a lot. You can see the transition.
Yeah, he really did change
over the course of years.
So I don't mind the little like elf-eared Jolly Green Giant. I don't think I've ever seen anybody ever carve a Jolly Green Giant, so that might be a fun test to see if I can do it.
You have to do it now. That's such a good idea.
Then the comments will be, all you do is carve green face people.
Yeah, right. Why can't you create your own figures? Right, you have to copy someone else's. You can't win on YouTube sometimes, except for our fans, the CNCers. You guys rock, for real.
The when you say that CNC, I know you're trying to spawn something here to give the listeners a name, but that was the older than the youth group at the church. It was the college and career group.
Oh no.
The CNCs.
So that's off the books as far as you're concerned, huh?
Well, I know I wouldn't want to be called that.
Doug's well, you're a great college and career person.
Yeah,
college and
career times 40 years. 40 years later.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It fits. Although, yeah. So I guess that you kind of poisoned it for me too. Now you didn't have to say that, but
good. We got rid of that.
Right.
The YouTube guy I listen to, like video creators, he calls his audience the Podience.
Podience.
Yeah. Because it's a podcast.
Oh, come on.
It's the Podience.
Boo.
People hate it. He likes it though. He's like the king of dad jokes. He likes this stuff. So.
Oh, it's power to him.
Yep, that's right.
So for me, I should answer that question. Yeah, the rules are they're guidelines. So for me, unlike Doug, most of what I do is I'm focusing on the head and the bust. So I don't carve the body all that often, really. I probably should more. You say you should carve less beards. I should carve more bodies. I don't as often as I'd like to, but I kind of focus on this niche of faces. And there are some general guidelines as far as proportions for the face. And of course, but there's kind of two questions there. The first was, how do you keep your proportions right? And then the other question was, is there a particular order you follow? And for me, when I'm carving, it's usually the brow ridge and the nose. Those are the first things that I carve in. I kind of sketch them in, and usually they're like you said, right around the center, just above center of the head. Mm-hmm. And as far as the maintaining proportions, I find one of the best things to do is to divide the thing in half. And you do this with yours too. I saw you divide the thing in half with a pencil, wherever you're working on. You can
vertical.
A vertical line.
Yeah, vertical,
correct. Yeah. That's a good distinguishing comment there. Yeah, vertically. You also horizontally too, though. On the face, sometimes I'll draw a line across the eyes to make sure everything is square and in proportion, because it's easy for somebody carving to throw something off proportion because they're getting rushed or not paying attention to both sides. So the pencil line keeps you true and anchored, making sure everything is equal. Yeah.
You follow all the rules of the eyes and the nose and the rule of thirds or anything like that, or do you just wing them all?
Yeah, that's why I said earlier, it's kind of like a general guideline. I think most of the time people's faces break the rules is what I'm trying to say. In other words, like the eyes are usually not in the center of the head. They're usually above the center of the head, or sometimes they're below, or sometimes they're at the center line. It seems on women that the eyes are generally more centered on the head, and males, the eyes are slightly higher above center, or the center line bisects the lower lid as it meets the ball. And the nose is about, give or take a bit halfway, a quarter of the way down the face from the center line. And the mouth is about a third of the way from the nose to the chin, and so on and so forth. But these rules are meant to be broken. And that's why I'm always hollering at students to get their reference photos and kind of draw those lines of proportion, the basic thirds if you want, or what have you, and then see how far that the reference photo diverges from those lines. I'm getting into nerddom here, but my point is, those rules they don't always hold true. Like the rules of proportion, they almost never do.
So then my nerd question to you was, are you a five eye guy or a 4-eye guy?
Yeah, that's good. So what he's referring to is the width of the face. There are a couple of contradicting. Well, they're really not contradicting, and I'll explain why in a moment. But there's the 4 rule, which is 4 eyes. The face is 4 eyes wide, and then there's the 5 rule, which is the face is actually 5 eyes wide, and they're both right. Just depends on what you're measuring to. So the average,
if you give them halves.
Well, it's really just if you measure from the farthest the widest point at the face, so that would probably be right at the angle of the cheekbones as they widen out, they move backwards. They start to come out further. That's probably the widest point of the face. That's about, generally speaking, about 4 eyes wide as a general rule. But the ears stick out a little bit more. So you get 5 eyes if you measure to the width of the ears. So as far as I understand it, they're both right. It just depends on what you're measuring to, the skull itself or the ears.
I think you're being gracious to the 4-eye teachers because I hear them talk about the half eyes on the corner of the eyes,
right,
and the 1 eye in the middle. So
right. Well, no, you're right, because you're right. It's right, because you got the 1, 2, 3.
So if
4.
you had I've never heard anyone talk about the ears included in that argument. But
I try to be nice and inclusive, but that's the difference between you and I.
Well, I haven't heard a word that you actually said since you said the word niche. Because, you said you work in this little niche. And I thought to myself, those suckers made fun of me the other night when I said progress. And you said, what's progress? It's progress. Right?
We were talking, my dad and I were doing some woodworking projects, and I called Doug. I don't know why, to bother him, show him what we were working on. And he said something about, well, it's good progress on that door. And we were like, what's progress?
Progress. So anyway, I think you meant to say your niche.
No, niche.
No, it's not niche. It's niche.
No, niche.
No.
Quit being a niche.
Hey, Google.
Oh no, we're not going to talk to Google. There's no Google today. He's down. Well, my Wi-Fi was down for a minute, and now I'm borrowing my neighbor Paul's Wi-Fi so we can do this. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, because I had a couple of frantic text messages beforehand that no internet. So,
I was updating you on the hour. I was nervous.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we made it work. So
yeah,
I'm glad Paul made it work.
Really, Paul is the IT guy. He came over
Shout
and
out
restarted.
to Paul. Yeah.
Really though, he restarted my router and said, well, for some reason your Wi-Fi is going to stay down. So here's my password, and you should be able to log in and get adequate internet. Sure enough, it's faster than my internet. Somehow.
Yeah. Just keep that password handy then for next week.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, thanks to him, our audio and video quality has improved greatly.
Well, I don't see, well, I do see actually in the far corner, I do see a jingle maker.
Oh my gosh.
People really enjoyed your jingle making.
Wow. All right, here we go. It's mailbag time. Wait, I ruined it. Wait, from the top. Take 2.
Well, yeah. Mailbag. Oh dear.
All right. So we have a question from
oh, so silly.
I'm moderating this time.
Yeah, you're the moderator, so better rip.
So Kel asks, I have a gorgeous 40-inch carved wooden statue of a young girl. My grandmother bought it at a sale in Cranbrook, which is near me if it's the same Cranbrook, during the 1940s. There are no artist's marks on her, but she is so perfect and smooth, I doubt it was a work of a student. So I'm wondering if you know of a reliable agent I can approach in Michigan. This is the one that I chose. To finally have her appraised for insurance and possible sale. I don't know where to start. Thank you very much, Cal. Well, I laughed at mid-read because I don't know the answer to this one. I've never appraised any artwork before, and I'm embarrassed that I don't have an answer for you, Cal, and I'm sorry. Hopefully Doug has something.
Sign your carvings, people.
Really? No, that's a great point.
I never do.
Do you not
do it? Well,
what's wrong with you?
If I think of it, I do. But
yeah,
probably 80% of the time, 80% of these are not signed.
Really?
I feel like I need to bring up the belt sander and just put a little smooth spot in every one and just sign my name and then finish over it again. Just because.
Would you do that? You really should.
I probably should.
Yeah.
But
just a pen on the shoe underneath would be fine.
Something. Yeah.
That'd be nice.
It's I should make it a rule that your carving is not finished until you sign it. That way I'll do it every time.
Can I tell you a secret about signing my carving, the way that I sign my carvings? It's kind of schemy, kind of gross. I sign them. Sorry,
Alex.
I sign them at art shows when people buy them. And I originally did this and still do this out of laziness because, like you, I just don't think to sign the carvings until the person who's buying it says, "Oh, did you sign it?" And then I pull out the carving tools and I started just out of laziness, right? I was doing it this way for a few art shows. And then somebody was like, "This is a great idea because it prolongs the sale and shows people around you that you've just sold an artwork," which people, the lemmings of the world, they flock to the sales. So they like to see what is that? What did you get? Oh, congratulations. That's a great piece. Creates this attention. And I didn't really, of course, wasn't smart enough to come up with it, but it just so happened that I kept forgetting to sign them. And to this day, I generally don't sign my carvings until they're about to go home with the new owner.
So you're telling me that all those carvings that I sent with you to that last show, you signed them?
Correct. 90% Doug Linker artwork that I rebadged.
Yeah. Pull out of the bulk barrel there. And
just in case someone that thinks my name is Alex thinks that I actually did that. Doug did not send me carvings.
No, I did not. And if I did, you would know the difference. It'd be a big witch nose or something.
It would be green, obviously.
Obviously. Yeah. I only do green animals.
So sorry, Cal, on that. But another question from a unnamed person. Oh, their email is showing that their name is Andre Rasso. Enjoying the chats. He says he has a question for us. Have we ever looked up any images of the wall in the wilderness, which is in Tasmania, Australia? He says this guy has been carving a wall in Huon, if I'm saying that right, Huon pine, since 2005. It's 3 meters high and over 100 meters long. Holy cow. He's quite secretive about showing images in print, preferring photography. Wow, so this guy's really secretive about his carving project. I wonder have you heard of this?
Yeah, I went and checked it out.
Oh my gosh, you scared me. Was that
another green face? Yeah,
nice.
I went and followed that through, and I went and looked at it. He's secretive that he doesn't want the pictures out there, but he's not secretive enough. Like people visit to see his work.
Really?
Right? Yeah, but it's amazing. Monster huge carvings, beautiful scenery, and I believe he said it's a 7-year project, a carving job. So yeah, it's amazing.
Here's a scene from it. Wow.
And if I'm not wrong, Huon pine is actually a very is a very hard pine.
Is it? Wow. Yeah, that's really neat.
Yeah, look how long that. Well, sorry, audio, but we're looking at a picture of it, and it's amazing. 7-year carving project. Wow. How long would you last in a 7-year carving project? Or how much drawing would you do before you started the 7-year project?
Oh, yeah, I'd be stuck on the iPad for weeks, probably drawing it out, trying to get my. Although I'd hate my life for those first. I mean, drawing is not fun for me.
Yeah, and if I had hired you to do that job, I'd be like, does he know how to carve? He's spending a lot of time drawing pictures. But yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I can't even do a whole day carving. I want it done and gone.
Right. And this is something that we have in common, the ADD of wanting the carving to be done by the end of the day, if possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Or night.
Right.
Many times I go to bed far too late at night.
Right.
just because. But yeah, so that was a good one. That was amazing. And I watched a little video clip of him there, and he's just sitting there all day long, just with his mallet and chisel, and just chip at a time.
Wow. Yeah, I'm looking at pictures of it, and it's worth checking out. That's pretty significant.
Say it again, then, for the folks.
Yeah,
The wall.
Yeah, it's called The Wall in the Wilderness, and it's in Tasmania, Australia. Another question we have from Chris. I'll stop saying their last names at risk of giving more info than they want to be given. But it says here Chris wants to know if, speaking on the topic of coffee, he says a subject which I do believe we are passionate about, coffee. What makes the perfect cup of coffee for you, and why?
Well, I, on my end, prefer espresso. So my perfect cup of coffee is made in a mocha pot on the stove.
You use one of those little Italian, like those percolator things.
Yes.
I've never used one of those.
Yeah, it's not a little one though; it's a big one. I have a little one cupper, which makes me giggle. It's so tiny, but yeah, I do like the full
Really?
pot one. Yeah, yeah.
So can you tell me how that?
I've done it for 20 years.
How does that really?
Yeah. So basically, I put if anyone who can't picture, usually they're stainless steel, or you see a lot of cheap aluminum ones too. They unscrew in the middle, and there's a basket in the middle that you take out, stainless steel, and you fill the water up the bottom up to the little blowhole, like a pressure,
right?
Whatever you call it, pressure relief valve or whatever.
Right.
And you put the basket in. I just fill it even with espresso, screw it back on, throw it on the stove top, wood stove, whatever, and yeah, then eventually you hear the nice gurgle, 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 and she fills up in the top, and you pour yourself a coffee.
So it kind of percolates over the coffee and drips back down, or no? Oh,
no,
okay.
No, it goes through from the bottom up through the cone.
That little cone.
It's not really a cone. It's like a straw. Said, it's a basket. It forces it through the basket, and it comes out of the little top and goes down into the pot part.
Huh.
Yeah, that's good. It's the best. I love it.
All right. What are these things called? What do you call them again? Like, how would I go about it?
I think that's called a mocha pot, MOCHA.
I'm going to get one of
those.
Or
I've seen others, MOKA, but that might just be the branding. I'm not sure.
Oh, here's one. This is the idea?
Yep, that's it.
Huh. Yeah. A mocha pot.
I have different types. I had one for camping that had just more like a bent straw on the top. I put my cup underneath of it. It would blow it into the cup instead of into the pot, but same idea.
Huh. This one's made of aluminum.
Yeah. I never liked the aluminum ones because they always kind of went crystally inside the.
Oh.
I forget the term for it, but.
So you like the steel ones?
I like the stainless ones.
Well, I'll have to postpone my my Amazon scrolling for the time, but
save it for after
after we're done. But I do want to try that. You've got me curious. But I have discovered something. Go ahead.
Before you get into your fancy hipster way of coffee, I want to do it your way.
Okay,
but I'll let you tell your way. But I know your way,
right?
But I find that mocha pot is so fast. It's just quick, bang bang, done. And this is what yours is a ritual. So go.
You had to get that in. Yep. I've made an important discovery. A friend of mine watched me making coffee, and what Doug was talking about was just pour over, right? So you have your little, I think it's called a V60, which is kind of like a spiral shaped glass cone or funnel that you set into your coffee cup, and you put your filter into, and you pour hot water through. It's just like a drip pot, but you pour it into the grounds
but it doesn't taste the same unless you have a long neck kettle.
He's teasing me. It's not mine. It's my roommate is the fancy coffee guy. To be
No,
completely
no,
transparent,
all those guys have the long neck
I know
kettles.
they
Yeah,
do,
yeah.
and they are. I would never spend the $200 or whatever it is for this, fellow fancy electric kettle that you can control the temperature down to the degree. But it's amazing. And now that I have it, now that I'm using it, as soon as Ben moves out, I'm going to pick one up. I mean, that's the first thing I do when he moves out, because it's nice for tea. You can, boil, your green tea to 170, your black tea to whatever, 190 something, whatever. Your coffee to 205. Doug's looking at me skeptically. He's bored.
You said coffee, green tea.
But here's what I learned. When you grind your coffee too, this is obvious, but when you grind it too fine, I have one of these grinders that Baratza Encore, it's called, I think it's, maybe I'm calling it by the wrong name, but if you set it to the higher number, so it's like a scale of like 1 to, I don't know, 30. If you put it at, I think I had it at 23, which if you Google best grind settings for Baratza Encore or whatever grinder for pour over, it says it's like 20 something. My buddy came over and said, "This coffee is off. How do you have your grind settings?" He said I need to have it at 12, which really just means that the grinds are thicker or coarser. Yeah. And so I've been doing it. I've been putting the setting at 12 or the grinder at 12. And it's, I mean, the best coffee I've had the last 3 days since I've done this.
Really?
Oh, it's amazing.
I grind my espresso fine.
Really? Well, of course. Right. Yeah. It makes sense because you want it to be
very
strong.
fine. Yep. Yeah. So.
Do you use one of those grinders, or would you use a burr grinder or one of those spinny head grinders? Does it matter to you?
I buy beans and
ground
during during the daytime, my can never empties. So I have somebody here that continually grinds my beans.
What?
My wife keeps the can full for me.
That's so nice.
Yeah. She's always grinds the beans. Well, what happened was we started getting the beans because I used to be a Medagliadero man. It's like an Italian brand, or an Illy. Illy is a good brand.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
But all of a sudden we had like 2 weeks there. We couldn't find espresso anywhere. All we could find was these big bags of beans. So then we started grinding our beans. So she just keeps filling up my can. But I may go back. But
that's the way to go. It's better. It's more economical, and we do that. I get the big bag of beans too.
Yeah, tastes great.
Oh tastes great. Oh, I love it. That's my favorite thing. I look forward to. You said it before, but I look forward to it. When I go to bed, I'm thinking, I can't wait to wake up and have my coffee.
I know. Me too.
Yep.
So, way back in the day, I remember I used to have this. Well, first of all, did you ever watch Peter McKinnon?
Yeah.
He was trying out all these fancy coffee gadgets of all different kinds there. But one of them reminded me of, I bought this coffee maker probably 20 years ago at I think it was like one of the first Starbucks in Canada. They used to only be in like the Chapters bookstore when they came up here. Chapters would be like
Barnes and Noble.
Barnes. They're joined. The same name.
Oh, okay.
I think they bought each other. They own each other. Just different names. But anyway. So anyway, Chapters. Yep. But I bought this a Volcano coffee maker. And I forget exactly how it worked, but it would all go through, and all of a sudden it would just go. Something would get to a certain pressure, and then would release, and just go right out into the pot.
I'm picturing like a craft project.
No, it was it would bubble, and all of a sudden just go, and then just suck it right down. I don't know how it worked, but it didn't last long.
Yeah.
Too fancy. Too many moving parts.
Broke.
Yeah. And that's why I don't, I see all these fancy little espresso makers with all the little knobbies and things, and I can't be bothered. I just like that mocha pot, and you can bang it around, throw it in your backpack, take it anywhere. And yeah.
You might, I'm going to, I shouldn't say I'm going to get one for sure, but I think I'm 90% sure I'm buying one as soon as we get off.
Very affordable.
Oh, it's like $30 or something for a mocha pot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no big deal.
But I did drink mocha for years. I mean, that's what I would, not mocha, sorry. I would drink espresso. Okay. I drink espresso for years.
Yeah.
But I had this little espresso machine and it just doesn't work quite like it did anymore now. So I've stopped.
So you're out driving around Michigan and you say, I'd like to have a coffee. Where would you go to get a coffee?
Well,
don't say some bistro fancy pants coffee shop. Like anywhere that you would be driving, where would you buy a coffee? Like a chain?
Well, to be completely honest, I know people crap on this one a lot because it's not cool anymore, but I like Starbucks coffee. I just do. It tastes good.
You would.
Yeah, right. I look like one of those.
Your kind likes it. That's right.
I don't know. I think my kind now is all about these local. And don't get me wrong, Desert Oasis, our local coffee shop, is in Rochester. I'm buddies with the owner, and he's makes a mean pot, as if he's there with one of those 6-cup pots, brewing pots. He makes good coffee, but I like, if I'm out and about and I'm not home, or oot and a boot, as the Canadians say, I'm getting Starbucks.
Yeah. We just got a Starbucks in my town.
Yeah.
I've never been.
Really?
I don't like it.
Really?
No. Well, I just want a coffee. Just make me a coffee then. Americana is disgusting.
Really?
It's like watered down coffee. And
sometimes
anything else is some frou drink that I can't afford.
Yeah, it's like $18 for a cup of coffee.
Well, I think my wife took Willow through just for the experience, and I think whatever drink she got was like $6.
Yep. Yeah.
You say yep, just like that. $6.
I know.
$6.
It hurts me too, though.
It's crazy.
Don't get me wrong.
But you may not believe this, but so Tim Hortons is our big Canadian chain, right?
Yeah.
But Tim Hortons, it's okay. But I would go, and I think we may have talked about this before once or twice, but McDonald's coffee is the best coffee around.
Come on.
I'm not kidding. It used to be the worst, and they changed. So McDonald's here, they kind of changed even the look of McDonald's, and they're kind of like calling the one side like McCafe, and they actually make good coffee. Like really good coffee.
I bet yours is better than ours. The Canadian coffee at McDonald's.
I believe so. Yeah. If they don't have the McCafe thing going on, then it won't be any good. Because I remember McDonald's coffee in the past was horrible, but no, it's delicious. Good stuff. Okay. And you get a sticker.
What?
You get a little sticker and a card on your cup, and then the 9 stickers, you get your 10th one's free.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Little gimmick.
Yeah.
That's nice though. That's
nice. I know you don't think about that with your $6 Starbucks, but
yeah, I know.
Us poor folk,
yeah, exactly. I'm just made of money.
We just walk around looking for empty McDonald's cups to get the stickers.
Yeah.
Tim Hortons has a roll up the rim once a year. You ever heard of that?
Roll up the rim? No.
Roll up the rim to win. You would roll up the rim.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost 50% of the time you win something.
That's
whether
cool.
a donut or a coffee or something. Yeah.
Timbits
just
are
for
the best.
A month. Yeah.
Yep. I love Timbits.
I think Tim Hortons did get into Michigan, right?
Oh, yeah. They're everywhere. Yeah.
Are they?
I like them.
Okay.
I do like them. I prefer it over McDonald's coffee, but I don't know if that can say I've had it in years. So probably 10 years.
I remember I think I was at a Burger King or something in the States, and there's this super friendly, great big guy at the counter. And I said, give me a regular coffee. He goes, oh, you want a regular coffee? And I said, yeah, just regular coffee. So he just pours a black coffee and hands it to me. And I said, no, I want a regular coffee. He goes, that is a regular coffee. I said, a regular coffee is cream and sugar. He goes, oh, you must be from Canada. Said,
no way.
Yeah. So have you heard of that?
Never
like
once.
Never regular coffee is one cream, one sugar.
Really?
Yep. Yeah.
No, if you ask for a regular, right? No, that's universal here. Any coffee shop you ask for a regular, you're getting black coffee.
If you ask for a regular in Canada, it's one cream, one sugar.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Hey, I think we are covering finally a coffee talk.
Hey, we did it.
We didn't go in
category.
Yeah, and people find out that we're not that fancy.
Nope.
We're just regular old coffee drinkers.
Just regular people.
Do you have any more in the mailbag there?
I think that's it. I mean, there's probably more, but those are the best of the ones that I saw, at least.
Good.
Let me see if I missed anything else. Yeah, I think that's the best of it. Ensuring valuable art. Sorry, Kel. Wish we had more to offer you there. That's it.
Good. We got some real nice notes of encouragement to keep on going. My favorite was like, I didn't think I would like this until I listened to a couple, and now I look forward to it. I'm like,
oh yeah.
Didn't think you'd like it, but turned out you did. Well, that's good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Plenty of people have messaged.
Hey?
I know. I mean, lots of. I mean, this is not including the messages we've gotten. People saying, appreciate you guys, putting the time into making it and keep it up and all that nice stuff. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, then we don't need a strum for this, but moving on to our last segment of. Oh, he's going for it. He's got his guitar.
What do we call this?
We need a name for this. What you been watching? What you been doing? No, right. What is it? Wait, no. We gotta be on sync. What word?
What you been watching? What you been
learning?
What you been learning? Here we go.
Okay. What you been learning? Willis.
Willis.
You know Willis, or are you too young for that?
What you talking about, Willis?
There you go.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, come on. I don't know what that's from, if I'm being real, but I do know that saying.
That is from a show called, oh no, it's slipping my mind.
Aha. Revenge.
Oh no. Real. Mr. Drummond was a white guy who adopted two little black boys, and one guy was really short. He was you'll recognize it. You have to recognize the name.
Oh, Different Strokes.
Different Strokes. That's it. Yes,
I found
all those good old 70s shows.
Yeah.
So that's where it comes from. Willis was the middle brother. Kimberly was the older sister, I believe.
Okay.
And Arnold was the youngest, and he was a short guy. His brother was Willis. What you talking about, Willis? That's him. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Turns out he got in all kinds of trouble in his adult life.
Oh, did he?
Yep, all 4 feet of him.
Oh.
Yeah. Kid actors never
seldom works out.
Turn out. Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel bad for him, but all that money. So what you been learning, Doug? What you been reading? What you been watching? What you been taking in?
Okay, you're hired next week. You just remember what you just did and play it on the guitar.
Yeah.
Your new song.
Deal.
I got on mutual. Well, we're both fanboys of this guy.
Oh yeah,
Bo Miles.
Unashamed. A little bit ashamed, but
Bo Miles is a Australian adventure traveler / handyman / junk collector / whatever. YouTube Bo Miles. So yeah, if you watch his videos, you won't be disappointed, guaranteed. But he wrote a book. So what happened was old buddy Bo here, he world traveler, does like many of us eventually do, is get married and have a child and realize that your life is over. No. No, he discovered that that adventure life was not for him anymore. So he starts doing these crazy hometown backyard adventures, and
Yeah.
they're fantastic.
Oh, like
For
canoeing to work, right?
yeah, walking 90 kilometers to work.
Yeah.
He yeah, like his normal commute, he walked.
Yeah.
Took him like 2 days for his 90-minute commute to walk.
Right.
Eating food that's thrown out and stuff.
Oh yeah,
Or
bananas and loaves of bread and stuff he finds on the
yeah,
road.
and canoeing to work, like all these drainage ditches he took to work,
Right.
and sleeping in a tree in his front lawn. Just weird stuff, but they're always entertaining. But anyway, he wrote a book called The Backyard Adventurer, and I probably read half of it this week.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
well, two things I haven't gotten yet. One, that book, and two, the Kindle.
Yes, I have a Kobo,
which is a Kindle, but
yes, but mine's a Kobo.
Kobo.
Is that? I think that is a Canadian thing then, because you said you never heard of it. It's just the exact same thing.
Huh. Oh, a Kobo Libra. What on earth is the difference? An H2O Kobo. Is this the one that you have?
I don't know. All I know is mine has a light in the back, whereas my first one did not.
I feel like it's more expensive than the Kindle.
Well, anyway, I like it because I have like 20 books ready to roll on my Kobo reader, and it's as big as my phone, although a little bit bigger. But
yeah,
and I don't mind reading from it because it is a soft paper look. And then if I read in bed at night, I can have a little backlight, so it's nice. Yeah.
Is it bright though? Does it keep you up?
I can do as bright as I want down to
you can adjust
almost nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a glow. It's not a light. It's like a glow.
Right.
But anyway, he wrote a book called The Backyard Adventurer, where he kind of talks about all things that we just talked about and why he did them and how he got to be where he is. And I'm loving it.
Yeah.
And he's making me think about all kinds of things, which is always good for a book to give you thought and things that you can change.
New perspective. And
yeah,
I've wondered about it. Yeah, I'll have to pick that one up. He's really a great, you can tell he's a great writer just by the scripts that he speaks from in his videos.
Yeah, because I actually had that exact thought when I stared at one page and I said, I could never be a writer, because everything that he says, one word will have 5 words around it describing the one word. Like, I'm like, my dog run. That's how I write, like Jack jump, but
I think you'd be a great writer. I disagree, but
well, I wouldn't even know how to start due to my limited education. But regardless, I was just amazed at all the descriptive words in a sentence. And I was like, yeah, I could never be a writer.
Oh, I think you could, but that's good. I'll have to pick it up.
Yep.
Will I really pick it up? We'll see. I think I'll probably pick that up before I get the Kobo.
Yeah.
I'll have to pick that up.
Well, coincidentally, his last YouTube video was signing 2,000 copies of the book after sleeping in a ditch the night before.
Oh, I love that. I love it. Yeah. I've only seen the first half of it. I got busy.
No, it's good. It's good.
Yeah,
I'm a fan. When I found him, I binge watched all of his videos.
You ruined 2 days for me by showing me him. I couldn't do anything else.
I sent him to you. That's right.
I couldn't do anything else.
Yeah. I love it when you find stuff like that.
It doesn't happen often for me.
No, I know.
But the other thing for me has been, although is it my turn yet even? No. So keep going.
No. Well, that's been most of my, my reading and watching. Oh, I started watching this show that everyone was raving about and didn't care for it. Squid Games.
Oh yeah, I've heard of this.
Not a fan.
Really?
Oh.
Are there squids involved?
No, you'd have to watch it, and I'd be surprised if you get through the first episode.
Maybe I won't.
But that's all I have to say about that. Well, it's kind of like an old. I don't know if they're Japanese or Chinese. I'm going to get in trouble because I don't know the difference. but
Oh.
karate, like old
Yeah.
karate movies with the
Right.
English dubbed in.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why would they make that
Both.
in 2021? Unless
They
they're
did.
going for that genre. They did exactly that.
Did they really?
They dubbed in the English words to this show.
Oh, interesting.
And it's like people are raving. It's number 1 on Netflix.
Really?
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm
Squid
just
Game.
old.
Is it about karate?
No, it's about a game. I can't give too much away because it's very complicated. But like I said, I'm probably just old and not hip to the jive of the anime generation. Right. So.
Well, you're doing better than I am. You're doing better than I am as far as media. I've just been.
What have you been up to?
I've just been watching highlight reels of Ron Swanson from Parks and Recreation. That's it.
Yes.
I'm just everyone that's on the internet, every compilation. I've never seen the TV show in full, but I've seen every highlight.
Yeah, that's all you have to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, my favorite. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Well, let me see if this might. Time. Well, no, this might relate to your favorite. I'm curious. Annalise, maybe she misrepresented it, but she said, my girlfriend said that there was an episode where Ron gets to meet his idol woodcarvers at a show, and he was real nervous.
Oh, yeah,
is that a thing?
Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, he has a chair, and he actually beats the other guy, I think. But Ron makes chairs. Right. No, my favorite was when he walks in the hardware store and some young guy comes up to him and says, can I help you, sir? And he looks at him and goes, son, I know much more than you do.
And then left. He just rolls away and the guy's like, okay.
Yeah, that was good.
Oh gosh, I love it. I like when he goes into the line at goes for a free sample at the grocery store, and it's a vegan bacon, and he takes one and he says, oh, thank you, and then throws it in the trash next to the samples table, and then says, another please, and he gives him another one and he throws it in the trash again, and the guy says, sir, I can't give you any more bacon. Is there something wrong?
Girl?
And then the girl says, oh, but I want one. Then she grabs it and she throws it in the trash.
And saving people from that bacon. Yes.
Exactly. He was like, sir, is something wrong? He says, I want to make sure that no one, I don't know what he says.
Yeah. No one else has to eat this.
Has to eat this. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
That's it.
That is how we're going to conclude episode number 8.
Number 8. Heavy on the coffee talk.
Yeah, just for fun. Why don't you just give them our email? Just for fun.
I'm nervous. godsgranola@gmail. No, it's a coffeeandcarvingshow@gmail.com. That's right, folks.
First try.
Boom.
Firepower. It's not fun anymore if you can't if you keep remembering it.
I know. Well, I'm getting less and less nervous with each time you ask.
That's good. So anyway, as usual, we appreciate your comments, your questions, show topics, and even those who buy us a coffee is always nice. So until next week, I'm Dan.
I'm Alex.
And we'll see you for episode 9 next week.
Take your vitamins, folks.
You just got to get that in there, don't you? All right. Good.
Bye-bye.